Women of Reddit, what hobbies do you find unattractive in men? I don't really care TBH, as long as you're not the type that insists that we do absolutely everything together. I like my alone time and I already have my own hobbies. I'm not gonna change for you, and I don't want you to change for me. That's the worst, and it can be so insidious because people can gaslight you for having a hobby that you choose to, sometimes, do without them. I joined a D&D game my friends were running. We'd play once a month for about 6 to 8 hours, and every time I got home my then wife would clearly be angry, though it took her forever to admit what it was about. She eventually came to one of the sessions and discovered that we actually played the whole time. Her assumption had been that we only played for 2 to 3 hours, and I just spent the rest of the time sitting around with my friends chatting and drinking beer. I got an apology, but it also took me looking back on the marriage afterwards to realize that even if we had done that, it should have been okay. This was literally one of the only things I ever did without my ex the whole time we were together. It wasn't even that I didn't want her there, she just didn't think she'd enjoy Dungeons and Dragons. Spoiler alert, once she tried it, she did, though ironically it's one of the ways she got close to the guy she ended up leaving me for, so I guess that one's on me. I once asked a guy what his favorite hobby was on our first date. His answer was dating. He was clearly talking about carbon dating. Guy was just an aspiring archaeologist. Could also be full panic mode. Shit, if I say gaming, she will think I'm a nerd. If I say sports, she will immediately know that's BS. Think of something normal everyone does. D-dating? I can boil this post down to 5 things. Addictions are destructive and bad. Overbearing obsessiveness is toxic. Being unnecessarily absent/neglectful is awful. Gambling, just don't. Unnecessary intentional murder is bad. So you're saying necessary intentional murder is okay? How necessary are we talking here? I have a guy at work who for some reason loves to go in great detail about his triathlon training routine, and how frustrating it is that even though his wife knows he needs to get his 67.5 minutes of riding and a 2-kilometer swim in each afternoon, she still bugs him to help with their kids. That woman deserves a chest full of medals for not stabbing him in a murderous rampage each night. Working. I'm not even lying. I met a dude once whose only hobby is working. When he's at work, he works, and when he's at home, he also works. And during holidays, it's also him and his PPT plus Excel sheets. Man can't even watch an entire movie without typing away on his financial report. And when there's no work, he becomes extremely grumpy. I have a rule that I won't ever become bored enough in my personal life that I pull out my work computer. My general rule is that I never have anything work-related on my personal devices. I refused to download Teams on my phone for the longest time at my last job, and the only reason I eventually caved was so my coworker could message me to let me know whether or not I had to waste 30 to 40 minutes commuting that morning. There were regular tech issues, and sometimes they just had us work from home if they felt like they'd be paying us to do nothing. Right now the only work-related thing on my laptop is an Excel sheet that I send to my manager when I want vacation time, and I only consider that tangentially related to work since it's used to give me time off. I dated a dude like that, and it was miserable. He would work from 9 to 9. And he genuinely couldn't understand how people can take vacations for longer than 3 days. He would say things like vacations are boring and a waste of time. This dude would literally bring his laptop on a trip with friends, and after socializing for 3 to 4 days, he would go back to working on his laptop while still abroad. I've never met a workaholic worse than him. That was indeed very unattractive. Day drinking. Being married/in love with a high-functioning alcoholic is soul-crushing. Edit. Let me clarify myself a bit. I have nothing against having a drink with a meal. That's not what I mean. What I mean by day drinking is whenever you pop a top it in the AM and don't stop until evening or until you pass out, then repeat the process on every day off. I've been married to him for a little over 8 years, and it's been a lot to deal with. He's not the same person when he drinks, and I cannot stand him when he is like that. I hide away in the kitchen and cover myself so that he won't touch me when he's like that. But when he is sober, I see the man I fell in love with, and those days get me through the bad ones. I love him and have no intentions of leaving him. He says he wants to stop, but has yet to go a solid week without it. We recently moved away, plus 3K miles, from where my family lives, and I've never felt more alone than I do now. I've already told him this, but I have a feeling that nothing will change, and this is my life. I feel guilty at times for imaging a different life than this, but I could never bring myself to hurt him like that because I'm hopelessly in love with him. For better or worse, right? It's not about what hobby they do. As long as they are passionate about it and aren't assholes or gatekeepers about it, everything is good. Will, my hobby is gatekeeping. I bet you couldn't even name 5 gates. My favorites are Steins, of Babylon, Nor, the Ninth, and Melinda. Edit. Thanks for the awards. The comment section of this could not be more perfect. Chef's kiss. You misspelled Steins. Are you even a real gatekeeper? In Chinese, a friend of mine is a Japanese girl, very cute and sweet. Met a white dude, went on first date. He made it clear he's fascinated by Japanese culture. He wore an anime t-shirt on the first date. Now if you are familiar with Japanese, or even Asian in general, that's a big no-no on first date. Very inappropriate in a stupid way. But the date went okay other than that, and they met again at his place. Dude was displaying posters and figurines all over the place. And yeah, hentai or borderline hentai ones. I can't imagine how one thinks that's attractive to any girl at all. This whole fetish thing is annoying. Degenerate investing aka gambling all our fucking money away. I'd rather marry the guy who enjoys Pokemon, watches anime, or likes to bake. Hell, I'd rather date a guy who is a straight up pothead as long as he can still function well. IDC what you do. You can fish on weekends, you can go hunting, you can drink beer and chill with your friends. Anything is fine with me as long as it isn't going to ruin our lives. But I'm never fucking dating another person, man or woman or non-binary, that is fucking awful with money. Splurging or going into manageable debt is fine, but don't fucking ruin us. Same goes with something like a severe drug addiction. I don't find any hobbies unattractive. I love seeing people's faces light up when they work on or talk about something they're passionate about. And through my years I've found out things about their hobbies and learned skills in many different areas too, like graphic design, town planning, painting. Hobby away and enjoy. I'm enjoying your enjoyment. TIL town planning is a hobby, as well as a thing. SimCity 4 players unite. Not a woman of Reddit, but cockfighting. We brought our kids to a birthday party. We got there early so my wife could help set up. So us dudes are hanging out. The homeowner decides to show us something awesome. It was not awesome. As soon as these birds see each other, it's on site/on site. I didn't know chickens could get so angry, and they put razor blades on their feet to make it go quicker. I felt sick. Instant panic attack. Like WTF. This guy had at least 50 birds leashed up like dog fighting dogs. It's been years and I'm still shook. What about a man with no hobbies? Don't like sports or video games or hunting or gambling or TV. I think my wife gets bummed that I don't really do anything for myself anymore. It probably doesn't help that I don't hang out with anyone either. My 3 closest friends moved out of state within the last 3 years, and all family is out of state too. I work on our house while I'm not working on other people's houses and do chores and hang with our 17 baby and 13 years old, when he'll allow it. Nobody will probably read this, but feeling like a total loser lately. Edit. Wow, so many words of encouragement. Not gonna lie, my eyes are definitely a little teary. Thank you to everyone for your kind words, and please know that they have really made a big difference in my perspective of myself. I'm calling some friends tomorrow, planning a date with my wife and making an appointment with a therapist. No going back to that sad guy again. Love you all! I'm sorry you're feeling like a loser. As a new homeowner, I can understand spending all your free time doing housework. There's a lot of it, and home improvement can be a hobby in itself, just one that happens to raise your property value. My dad's biggest hobby is home improvement stuff. He's always thinking of ways to redesign rooms and make the house look nicer. I personally applaud you for trying to hang out with your kids. I don't have anything in common with my parents, and never really have, and as a result I feel really distant to them as an adult. They're basically strangers to me because I never felt like there was any attempt at a connection from me or them. We just kind of existed in the same house for 2 decades and were each the aloof roommate that you never see. I somewhat regret not building a better relationship with them, as it's been pretty hard for me this year, and it's been a real bummer that I don't feel close enough to them to ask for help. So never feel like a loser for wanting to spend time with your kids. They'll appreciate it in hindsight. Hope this upvote helps your self-esteem a bit.